Yo, what's up guys, this is Midnight Wabbit, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. And today what we're going to be talking about is this week's Nightfall and how to complete it with 5 minutes remaining on the clock, which is what you have to do to obtain the Rat King exotic sidearm. This is what you have to do to complete the quest. The final step is to complete the Nightfall with 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Now, if you don't know, Nightfalls in Destiny 2 are timed, and they have modifiers known as time warp modifiers that will increase your time for doing certain tasks. Now, last week, the task was called Killing Time, where killing enemies will increase the time on the timer by a couple of seconds. So you basically just had to clear ads, and you would gain some time for the clock. Now this week, the Time Warp modifier, I can't remember the name of it, but it spawns these Vex gates throughout the strike in 3 different areas. Now these gates, every time passing through one, will grant you a substantial chunk of time to your timer. So you're going to want to pass through as many of them as you can, especially if you're trying to complete this for the Rat King exotic sidearm. But the one thing to note is that these, before I tell you where they are, one thing to note about these is to make sure that you pass through them all in quick succession, because once you pass through the first portal, or the first gate in any area, it will periodically, eventually it will unspawn the other ones. So you only have a limited amount of time between the first portal and the rest of the portals you want to go through. So you got to make sure that you go through all the gates as quick as you can, because once you go through the first one, there's a limited amount of time to go through as many as you can. You technically will be able to make it through all of them. So I know for a fact you will be able to make it through all of them, even by yourself. But you got to make sure that I recommend making sure that most of the enemies are dead, if not all of them. The gates will not unspawn until you've gone through the first one. So I recommend making sure the enemies are dead, and then that way you don't have to worry about the enemies in that area, and you can just run through the gates, and it shouldn't be an issue. Now, the gates spawn in 3 different areas. The first area is the beginning of the darkness zone, where you jump down into that cave area where the Cabal and the Vex are fighting. There's quite a few there. There's some right here in this area, right before you jump to that hologram of the Vex boss itself. And then there's some right when you're passing the drill on the way to the final boss himself. So those are the 3 locations where you can find these. Now, these rings, like I said, they will spawn in these 3 locations. These are the only locations in the strike that they spawn, and these are the only ways to get time back on your score. So make sure you don't miss out on an opportunity to get these rings. They're very important, especially if you're trying to complete that quest, because you need to have at least 5 minutes remaining on the clock, which is a lot of time. So you want to have as much time as possible. Now, for the actual boss fight himself, I'm going to show you how to do this very, very quickly. Now, it's a 3-stage boss fight. Unlike the one last week, you cannot just melt him in one phase. He will go immune after a third of his health is taken out, and the floor will drop, and he will go to a 2nd phase, and then it will happen again, and he will go to a 3rd phase. So I'm going to talk about each phase, and what I think is personally, in my opinion, the best way to get through each phase as quick as possible. Now, for the first 2 phases, the 2nd phase is probably the hardest, because the area he's in is so small, and you're in a very confined space with the boss the whole time. Plus, when he lights the floor on fire, that's not, the burn damage isn't an issue, but the shockwave that he emits when he hits the floor is a major issue, because he can actually knock you straight off the map if you're not careful. So what I recommend is, for the first part of the boss fight, wait until it's solar damage, and using either a Celestial Nighthawk or the Merciless Fusion Rifle are probably the 2 best sources of solar damage. I recommend using either of those. As you can see right here, I'm using the Merciless, and I take out a third of his health almost instantly, almost single-handedly. So then we go immune, and then we go to the next phase. Now, we did not actually have a Celestial Nighthawk on our team for this, but this 2nd phase is where I would recommend using the Celestial Nighthawk if you have it, or if you have another person with a Merciless or more ammo in yours. I recommend using it here, because this is the phase you want to get through as quick as possible, because this is definitely the hardest phase, in my opinion. I think this is probably the most dangerous area of the 3 for you to actually be for a prolonged period of time. So once you get through this area, hopefully it can be as quick as you can. Once you get through this area, you're going to drop down to the final arena, which is surrounded by that Vex fluid that the boss will be walking around in. Now, once you shoot the boss's head off, he will come up on the land, so be aware of that. He will come out of the fluid up onto the land, and he will start walking around and trying to stomp you, as well as shooting you with his slap rifle. So just be aware of that. Don't try to get too close to him, because he does have a ground slam melee attack. And it probably won't insta-kill you, but it will do quite a bit of damage. So just be aware of that. Also, don't forget, Nightfall rewards will scale to your light level, just a reminder. So even if you complete the Nightfall at a lower level, if you don't collect the reward from Zavala and then you level up more and then collect the reward later on, it will actually scale to your level. The powerful rewards that you get from the milestones are the only items in the game that actually scale in that way. Everything else is just a set number once it drops. Like an exotic or a legendary Angerman will not increase in light once it drops at that level. So just be aware of that these can technically save till the end of the week if you wanted to get to the highest light level you possibly can and then open them. And then that way you will get higher level gear from them. Now, for this final part of the boss fight, like I said, it doesn't really matter what element it is, because as long as you have decent weapons that can do that elemental damage type, or decent weapons or supers, then you should be fine for this final phase of the boss fight. It's not really an issue. It's just the first two that you really need to get through as quick as possible to make sure you have time for the third. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you have not already for more Destiny content. I will have a video up later tonight talking about the raid. The recommended light level for the raid, what I'm expecting from it, and what I think are some of the most important weapons and armor pieces, like mainly exotics and stuff, to have for the raid. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you're excited for the raid or anything like that, let me know what you guys think of the Nightfall system in this game. I think it's definitely interesting. It's pretty fun. So let me know. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, like I said, and I will talk to you guys later with another video. Peace.